On Saturday, August 16th, 2025, 2 months after the release of Secret of the Mimic, Game Theory uploaded their final video covering Five Nights at Freddy's Secret of the Mimic, discussing what they believe the game meant for the future of the series, what it means for the old lore, and what becomes of the Mimic M2. Their theory covers the fact that there are many similarities between David Murray and Dave Afton, specifically them having the same name.
Last year, we came to the conclusion that Crying Child's real name was also David.
They conclude with a possibility that M2 is the Crying Child.
Everything about these two feels identical to a strange degree, almost as if they're the same person.
That William stole him at the end of Secret of the Mimic.
But then Afton swooped on in and took her son for himself.
William then builds him a human exterior, as evidenced in the human-looking faces in Sister Location.
In order not to raise suspicion, Afton would need to make M2 look like another one of his kids. We see masks down in the Sister Location bunker, Afton's attempts to create realistic human costumes, one that M2 would be able to wear out and about.
And that, if Dave Afton is a robot, it explains this strange line at the end of FNAF 4.
Might solve the most infamous line in all of FNAF. I will put you back together.
This theory is highly controversial. This theory is identical to a joke that Unwithered Truth and I made back in March. 3 months before The Secret of the Mimic, fellow FNAF YouTuber Unwithered Truth and I put out a video called "We Solved FNAF 4, The Crying Child is the Mimic Joke Theory." It had this thumbnail: "The Crying Child is the Mimic mimicking Dave." It's based on a conversation we had in our DMs. The puppet is the Mimic because it's tendril legs. The Crying Child is the Mimic because stripes that look like the puppet. John FNAF was right all along. Wait, this is stupid, but wait. What if Dave is actually the Mimic? Hold on, is Scott the worst writer on Earth?
Wait, do you mean Dave Murray or Dave Afton?
Dave Crying Child Afton is the Mimic. Keep in mind, this was before Secret of the Mimic came out. This was back when all we had to work with were books that we didn't think were canon. Tom lists endless similarities between David and Dave, including both being scared of Foxy, both having similar bedrooms. Unwithered and I didn't need all that so-called evidence. We just needed to have the worst ideas possible. Seeing the robot heads in Sister Location and the Daves having the same names is all we needed. Is it possible that the Crying Child isn't the puppet or Golden Freddy? The Crying Child, like John FNAF said so many years ago, is a robot. The Crying Child just is the Mimic. Dave the Crying Child from FNAF 4 is David Murray, but he thinks he's an Afton. He's a robot boy. And why does this matter? Because it solves this strange line at the end of FNAF 4. When William said, "You're broken, I will put you back together," he's literally broken, because he is a robot. He is the Mimic. And the icing on the cake? While not entirely literally correct, Unwithered Truth predicted the ending of Secret of the Mimic. And Unwithered's final prediction.
What if at the end of Secret of the Mimic crawls into a robot baby boy and turns on an illusion disc?
Needless to say, we're taking joke theory out of the title of that video. When Unwithered and I were speculating this back in March, we basically thought to ourselves, what is the worst possible story Scott could tell with the pieces we currently have? What is the least satisfying, dumbest answer to the lore? And we ended up on Crying Child is the Mimic mimicking David. This was supposed to be a joke, not a roadmap, Scott. The fact that Game Theory has like 30 minutes of retention maxing edited evidence for this idea is really something. Secret of the Mimic actually added lots of evidence to this idea. Secret of the Mimic also immediately proved Cryonite's Fazburger theory true, and provided more evidence for my own arcade theory. But, coincidentally or not, adding more to the pile of the Crying Child is the Mimic mimicking David evidence is not something I expected. I tweeted this after the game came out. The second half of this video went from joke to canon real quick. Never did I think this idea would be a game theory episode. If you follow the second-tier FNAF channel sphere, then you know that T-Dreads and I are currently locked in an everlasting eternal war between two conclusions. God, David. The idea that Fiona and or William brainwashed the crying child and Gregory to become another David to rebuild the Murray family, and Fate Fiona, the idea that Fiona acts as a sort of agony willpower emitter and subconsciously influences events to happen according to her own memory, causing echoes and repeats of past actions to keep occurring. Game theory offered another explanation for all these occurrences, which is that the first 7 games are actually just in-universe games. It's games fiction.
That they took more than Edwin's creations. They claimed his entire story.
Are all 4 of these ideas crazy? Yes. Is one of them less crazy than the other 3? In my opinion, yes, but maybe if T-Dreads wants to come on my show, A Brief Calm Discussion, we can talk about the difference between Fate Fiona and God David. And maybe if Tom wants to come on, we can talk about the difference between Fate Fiona, God David, games fiction, and Mimic Crying Child.